Welcome to the Root Zone Podcast with Chris Stout, owner of Stout Lawn Care. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Root Zone Podcast right now. And here's your host, Chris Stout.
All right, here we are on the second episode of the Root Zone Podcast. I am your host, Chris Stout of Stout Lawn Care. I neglected to mention last episode that we do have an actual producer. His name is Brad Corbett. He is doing all the stuff in the back. And hello, Brad. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for doing all the stuff on the back side of this stuff.
What's going on, man? It's good to be here at Root Zone. It's fun.
Yeah, we're excited. So for the second episode, we are bringing on a good friend of mine. I think we've known each other 25 plus years. Brian Finnegan. How are you doing, Brian?
Ooh, what's going on?
I'm good. As you know, I started this podcast because I wanted to explore the service industry a little bit more. And what better way to explore it than talk to someone that's been doing plumbing for how long?
It's 23 years.
23 years in the plumbing industry.
Yeah.
So let's jump into a little bit. Brian, tell everybody about yourself, where you got your start, your family, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, so you'd be like, my start or my plumbing start?
Yeah, you're like, where do you want to start? We were plumbing start. I mean, we graduated high school and you went right to Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology. Isn't that right?
Yep.
All right, so let's start there.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
It was great. I really didn't do much with trades. I grew up in a neighborhood where we had maintenance men. Never had to cut my own lawn, anything, but wasn't really the best student. Wasn't my thing, but I liked working with my hands.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I did get into computer networking first at Stevens Tech. Wanted to do something with computers. Probably looking back at it, was probably more like computer graphics or something exciting.
Yeah.
I signed up for
some interesting.
Yeah. I signed up for
some architectural shit. You're gonna build a house.
Something, like in computer graphics
Yeah.
in 8th grade, you're like,
Yeah.
you make like an art project, a CD cover, like you like that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So I just signed up basically for a computer code class.
Gotcha.
And I got in there, it was like day one. It was like, this was a mistake. It wasn't a mistake in the long run because it got me at the tech,
Yeah.
And that did a lot for me. A lot of great teachers over there. But I quickly found out that I was not going to last in computer networking.
Yeah.
The instructor, Kevin Flory, we tried, but it was just not working. So really good guy. He said, I'm going to talk to some people and try to get you to maybe just visit all the other classes because you're going to fail out. But it's a tech college, so there's college courses. I still don't know 100% what I want to do, but those courses count for if I wanted to go to another college. So I still had marketing classes and different stuff. So I stayed for that, but my main I was failing out of. So.
When was that? Was that halfway through the year?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't take long. Once you get in there, I mean, you jump right into it. It's computer
and
code.
This was Thaddeus Stevens. So Thaddeus Stevens had, I was there for cabinetry.
Yeah.
They had plumbing. They had
auto body, auto technology.
Okay.
You had carpentry.
Yeah, carpentry.
Masonry.
So it was a tech school.
Yeah, full on. Yeah, they called it was a tech college because there was college courses there, but it's a tech school. Yeah. Yeah, very quickly found out the computer thing wasn't for me. Stayed so I can get my courses and but I was going home. So went back, worked at Blockbuster for 6 months. Great job there. Did that through the years, but before I left, I did go to every shop.
That's how old you are, just so everybody in the listening audience knows that you worked at a Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway.
At one point, when I was failing out, I thought maybe I'd try to be a manager at a Blockbuster. And, it was a great gig.
Hey, man.
Right, I think, were you at Hollywood Video?
I was Wawa down the street.
Wawa.
But my man Wade used to work at that Blockbuster back in those days.
Yeah, that was the best job.
Man, you could have gone places, though. Blockbuster's killing them, aren't they?
You imagine putting all your eggs in that basket?
Man,
Finally
literally all your movies in that basket.
Free rentals.
Yeah, it was like $5 a week, I think. You got them before they came out.
That had real monetary value.
It really did.
Absolutely.
But then you spent all your check on used Blu-rays and video games. You like your $400 check and $300 went to video games,
Oh, shit.
But so we had a couple buddies in plumbing up there. And it just seemed like something I would definitely graduate. I had to graduate. I couldn't go back twice and fail. So I just wanted to get something solid.
So you went into plumbing, Thaddeus Stevens. You excelled at it. You did good, right? You had good grades.
Yeah, it was again good enough to graduate.
Yeah,
you know, still
like
have
D's
like
get degrees.
Still have like nightmares of like that I have a report due.
Yeah,
and I had that feeling that I didn't finish something. I'm not going to graduate. You know, but the effort was always there. The work ethic. You know, but maybe not reading. You know, like the computer piece was 80 pages of computer mumbo jumbo, and if you didn't get day one, it was just a snowball. So I think that's where our struggle was, that retaining information, reading. Yeah. But always had a good attitude and work ethic. So
yeah, that's half. That's why I like kind of brought you on, like the service industry. You were like, you know, I think a lot of people in the service industry get thrown into the service industry, whether that's like maybe your uncle worked at a restaurant or your uncle was a contractor, and you'd be like, hey, you want to come help me on the weekends when you're 16, 17 years old or something like that. Or it was a little different for you. Like you were going for this computer thing, and then you went right into plumbing, and now you've been a plumber for 23 years. Yeah. So after the tech, you went to Roto-Rooter? Is that right?
Yeah. So graduate, they had job fairs out there, but it was in Lancaster, the school. So everything was York and Lancaster and Harrisburg. That's where like the companies were at a job fair. You know, nothing was in King of Prussia, Norristown, Ambler.
Nothing local.
Nah. So when you get home and you're trying to find a job, entry level, everybody wants 5 years experience or something. So you got to start at the bottom. Yeah. And you're going around interviewing, and they want to give you $8 an hour, and you're just like, what did I go to school for?
What did I go to school for?
There's no reason. Like, I was working at Giant and Blockbuster making more money. Why would I do that? But you learn later on that you got to get a start somewhere.
Yeah. And when you got your start at Roto-Rooter, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you have to buy a van?
Yeah. That was the thing.
And outfit it, or they outfitted it?
They outfitted, like, I mean, the stickers, the decals and all, but that was my ride. Like, it was my personal vehicle.
And you outfitted all the tools, too? They were your tools?
Yeah, all the equipment, like the drain machines and that stuff, the big stuff, but all the hand tools and all is yours. Yeah, you pay for your gas, you pay for your insurance. I used to take that. I don't remember. I used to take that to rookies. And I'd be down the city in a Roto-Rooter truck. Like, what's up, lady?
I had to bring up the Roto-Rooter.
Yeah, that was my ride.
I remember seeing. I swear you brought it to a wedding. I don't know. Maybe
I had to. Yeah, that was it. It was $500 a month. That was my note. So couldn't afford it, you know. So
yeah, and you Roto-Rooter. You had some frightening stories working for Roto-Rooter, didn't you?
Yeah,
because they were. I'll get into it a little bit later, but like being a 24-hour service, how challenging that can be. But Roto-Rooter is definitely 24 hours, emergency services, right? Mm-hmm. And you started at the bottom, so you were getting the bottom phone calls.
Yeah, you get that because, again, you got to start somewhere. So they bring you in and do like 6 weeks training, teach you how to do like drain cleaning and all. Mm-hmm. But the plumbing piece, there's no like continuous education, so you got to figure it out. So the better you get, the more money you bring in, the better jobs you'll get. So so that's why I started to really gravitate towards like the sewer piece. Because when somebody says I'm a plumber, it's like saying I'm a doctor. Yeah, you know, like you don't want like a foot doctor doing open heart surgery. It's not their thing. So for me to go and work on your boiler, hey, you're a plumber, right? Like that's something different, you know. So like at the company I'm at now, we focus on all plumbing, but like my piece has always been the sewer and the drains.
Got it. You know, and is that direct correlation from Roto-Rooter basically? Because you like Roto-Rooter was like, hey, I like this, ain't bad. I'm actually pretty good at it. I'm not. Yeah, you get good at something. Day,
exactly. You know, because like if you tell me your faucet's dripping, it's an old faucet from the 50s. Like I haven't seen how to rebuild that, so I got to figure it out on the job site. Tinker with that, drive around through Norristown, going to plumbing supply houses. And maybe you're charging $230 for that, where a sewer was $400. Yeah, you get good at that, and you know you're making and you're on commission too. Yeah. So you're not getting paid by the hour to figure it out. So you have to. If you don't fix something, like if I go to fix your faucet for 4 hours and it's still dripping, you're not going to pay me. So I don't get paid. And
that's how Roto-Rooter was. Really?
Yeah, you're on commission.
So you didn't get an hourly wage at all.
Nah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean later on they found out it's like. There was some stuff that they shouldn't have been doing.
Illegal.
I don't know if I could talk about that.
No, you can't.
There was like a check in the mail later on.
I did. Yeah, I got one from Scott's Lawn Care.
Did you?
Yeah,
it was like one of those things.
They weren't giving us overtime correctly.
Yeah, they play with the. And it was like one of those things I remember.
They had a percentage. They're like, well, if you do this, you get 12%. And then they're like, all of a sudden, I got a check for $480. I was psyched. Yeah. Was like, you entered this lawsuit. I don't remember entering this lawsuit, but I'll take the $480.
Yeah, you basically get something in the mail one day that says, if you want to have your own lawsuit, you have to opt out of this.
Yeah.
And if you don't do anything, we'll mail you a check.
Yeah.
And
How
I
much
was
was
like,
the check? Was it
I
good?
think back then it was like $5,000 or something like that.
Ooh.
It was still nice, yeah. When
Back
the
then,
time I
that
got
was
it, that's
big
when like the
time,
new
man.
Xbox One came out. I was like, thank you. Went straight to Best Buy. You know, it was nice to get that in the mail. And, you know, some guys got way more. It was just the way they play with the numbers, and it was.
So how long were you at Roto-Rooter?
Almost 10 years.
10?
Yeah.
Fuck, 10 effing years.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, and I started in Philadelphia, moved down to Florida, worked at the Tampa one, and then came back. That was the thing. You could go anywhere. You're just another truck. Like, so you're paying for everything. So you show up and say, I want to run calls. You can transfer anywhere. So we transferred down. I moved to Florida for a couple of years.
And you and your lovely wife, Brandy, she was teaching down there, right?
Yep.
So it worked out well.
It did.
And we had a lot of friends that vacation in Florida for a couple of years.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, that was great.
Yep.
I took advantage of that.
Absolutely, you did.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was good. I was glad we came down.
Yeah, Ybor City.
Ybor. Yep.
Ybor, can't beat it.
Yep.
But anyway, so Roto-Rooter, how 10 years, and then why'd you come back? Family, friends?
Yeah, I'm very big on family and that connect. Like, really homesick. Like, it was nice, but you know, when you're like 24, 25, 26, you're starting to figure out. You're starting to maybe not hang out. You know, maybe cut some people out of your life, not intentionally, but it's like you're growing. You're going in a different direction, and maybe you have 50 friends, and now you're starting to get down to like 30. You know what I mean? You really, you know, you get to our age now.
Well, we're right before we started this podcast. Me and Brad were talking about how our tribe is getting smaller. Every year, and especially, you know, we were talking about in our early 20s. I was still in the restaurant business. Brad was still you were in Cali, right?
It was between Connecticut and Cali, yeah.
So and you were down in Florida, so you learned a lot. I guess we didn't realize it, but you learned a lot about yourself in those early, you know, mid-20s when you're having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then it starts to get old.
Yeah, and then you like for me going down to Florida, you know, I kind of went down at the age where everybody was still hanging out, so I felt like I was missing a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and if you couldn't come home for everything, you couldn't fly home. So if unfortunately there was a friend or a family member or somebody that had passed, you couldn't come home for every funeral
or a wedding
or every barbecue. You couldn't be at
25th
Thanksgiving.
birthday, 30th birthday.
Absolutely. So you know, this year we're saying we're going to go home for Christmas. This year was Thanksgiving. You know, so you're not home for Thanksgiving, and you know you're looking at your wife and you love her, and it's like you're in a Cracker Barrel eating dinner at Thanksgiving, and you call your family, everybody's watching football and hanging out. It's like maybe
where you want to be.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and as much.
I mean, it was probably a good experience though.
It was
being in this, like, you started in Philly, which was probably a tough environment, and then you go down to Florida, which were you in a nice area in Florida? Like, I'm trying to lead back to the services and like how you were able to deal with how horrible it was in Philly. Then you went to Florida. What was it like in Florida? Was it easier? Did you like your job
like
more?
my personal the job that they had for me down there, I like doing is working on new construction. We weren't doing too much of that back here.
Yeah.
New construction. I had my own schedule. I had to do so many jobs by the end of the week. So if I wanted to stay out and work 40 hours in 3 days, I could take a couple day, 3-4 day weekend. Like I had my set stuff.
Kind of like your own. When you're a rotor, you're almost like your own little kind of boss.
You are, yeah. It's nice, and like it's your truck, it's your stuff. So it had its pluses and all. And as a business, they stay busy with the jingle still works. The they had that's like an all time jingle. The Roto-Rooter, like people still call it. They trip over money. You don't even have to be good at. Like just people call them because I need the Roto-Rooter machine. My kitchen sink's backed up. So
So then Roto-Rooter, you came back. You were homesick. You're back.
Yep.
And then you made a big change, right? You went to Horizon.
Yes. Yep.
And where did you Horizon for? I don't know if it's national. They're not national, right? They're East Coast though.
They are. They've gotten way bigger.
Way bigger.
Yeah.
So they're up and down the East Coast.
Yep.
And going from Roto-Rooter, which is kind of your own boss, right? Where you were part of a company, but you weren't really. It wasn't like Horizon.
Yeah.
You walked into Horizon and you walked into like corporate America, didn't you?
Yeah, so at that point, it still was like it was just Pennsylvania and the Delaware locations. Okay. At this point now, they're I don't know, there could be 50 or 100 up and down, and it's not so much they put up a bunch of horizons, whether they own this place or that place, acquisitions. But anyway, yeah. So with that, it was at that point, Roto-Rooter, when I was a kid, 21, 22, I was making like ridiculous money. I was out on nights and weekends, and I was missing a lot of stuff with friends, but the money was awesome. And then it started to kind of dry up, and then you're sitting in a parking lot in the wintertime, and you have to decide whether I'm going to keep the heat on or save my gas money. Because, when you get, I forget what it was, when your paycheck was like under so much money, like you could still fill up your gas tank if you had like $10 or so. I forget what you're looking at that, you're making that decision.
In your account, you can still put 28 in the gas.
Yeah, let me go on the negative now, and then my check comes in Tuesday, and you catch up. And when you start to get to that point, you just need solid income. So you find an hourly rate, somebody that's paying by the hour. So I had a couple buddies that left to go over there. So it was a great move for me because I learned a lot there. It was a great company.
When you went there, what year was that? What, 2000
That was 2011.
11. And then you were there for how long then?
I left 2 years ago.
Yeah, so
2 years. I've been over at Avanti now for 2 years.
All right, so 10 years again. Almost.
Close to it. Both of them were close to 10 years, yeah.
And what did, you said you learned a lot. Like I said, I think a Horizon is a big company. They're a multi-million-dollar company.
Yeah.
They have processes, procedures, they have everything. And you were on all ends of their services, right? So
yeah,
if I remember correctly, you do the drain thing, right?
Yeah.
But you also, when you worked for them, didn't you start to get into customer service and answering service calls? And you were leading teams at that point, weren't you?
Yeah. So it's a great like place for growth.
Yeah.
That's as far as like no company's perfect, but going there as a drain technician, and Brandy had our first child. I needed to be home more. I was doing a lot on calls and stuff, and you would go days without seeing your kids, or like you're awake and they're asleep, and the schedules are off. And it got to the one point, Michaela was young.
Why don't do snow anymore? But
yeah, you got to the one point where like Michaela, I think she was like maybe a year or two, and there was like a stretch where I didn't see her for like 2 weeks. I would go in and check on her at nighttime and go look, give her a kiss on the head or whatever. But one day she woke up and I was there, I was off, and like she didn't like recognize me. It was like, so I was like, I'm done. So I was able to get into the warehouse and help in there, just be like cleaning up the warehouse, sweeping, delivering parts, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it was
for Horizon.
Because
why? Well, here we go. Perfect lead in. It's a 24-hour service, right?
Yeah, so you're on call.
On call. And I remember, years past in that 10-year frame trying to hang out with you, or whenever we hung out, like, yo, you having a beer tonight, Finn? Like, nah, I can't. I'm on call this whole weekend. Yeah. And that was your life for a couple of years, right?
Yeah. Even when we were over at the Walton House, like we were just talking about this, like everybody's there hanging out, playing cards, drinking, and I'm on call. So I might have to leave at any moment. And we were just talking about that. The best on call ever was the Malice at the Palace.
All right, go ahead.
I'm like watching that. Everybody's playing cards, and I'm just watching this game. And I'm like, I get a call that I got to go to a call, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch a couple more minutes, and you start to see this like unfold.
Oh, this is when Ron Artest
that whole
thing.
I'm like sitting there, so like I ended up being late for a call because it was like, I'm like, guys, you gotta like stop playing cards, come check this out, and it's like getting worse and worse. But
he's fighting people in the crowd.
Yeah, so you just make do with that, But
you were on call.
Yeah. At any time, yeah.
Well, you had fun that night a little bit.
Yeah.
You were late for that call.
Yeah.
What happens when you're late?
It's just more or less like maybe a customer might be upset. Like, I've been waiting for you.
But you're a smooth talker.
Yeah.
You were good.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, after then like you warehouse, but I feel like towards the end you were like literally leading teams. And you were a manager.
Absolutely.
How did you went from drain cleaning to sweeping floors, warehouse guy, helping out where you can, delivering, to what was next?
I met a real good guy, Troy. He was one of the like owners at that point. So he had transferred from Wilmington, Delaware up to the PA location, and just by chance he was walking in carrying a bunch of stuff, and I was helping him. I was in the warehouse helping him. We just started a relationship. Yeah. He was like really like, I got to get you into something else. So he actually got me into sales. So I jumped into the sales piece. He taught me a lot. And that's what I mean too, like opportunity. Like sometimes it's just the way stuff happens, But Yeah, I got into the sales piece, and then for my department that I was a part of, there wasn't basically a manager for the drain techs. They fell under the plumbers. So then they were like, we need a manager, and that's something I always wanted to do. So he gave me that opportunity, and then it was like a supervisor to a manager to a area manager, like that kind of stuff. PA, Delaware, Jersey.
How was the sales position? Were you cold calling? Were you like?
It was still sewer related.
Leads?
Yeah, so you had like the tech leads. Most of it was set up by a
Yeah.
technician. You go and clear a drain and the pipe's broken, or they think it's broken, or it's like, hey, can you come? We need to come look at it.
Okay.
And then you get out there and you find there's roots in the line, or there's a cracked pipe or something. And now you're talking to the customer about different options and replacing it. And
Gotcha.
So
for that time frame, you were a lot of face to face with customers.
Yeah.
And we were face to face a lot with customers at any point in the plumbing because you're coming to someone's house. But to sell them, so you learned that whole Troy, I'm assuming, helped you
absolutely
get your spiel down, get your hey. Because I remember, and I think what you love about Avanti, what you didn't like about Horizon is it was always a money game. It was always a money grab at Horizon. How much can I charge this person instead of how much should I charge this person? And so I think that wore on you, emotionally, probably. Like, I know you're an honest person and a good family man. So that must have been tough for you in that aspect, doing sales like that.
Yeah, because it's one of those things like you're not selling something that doesn't need to be sold.
Yeah,
I would never do that, but at the same time, if you're thinking, I know other companies are charging half. Well, however we get our prices, we get our prices. Yeah. But I'm not going to sit there and come to your house and say, well, here's what I can do for you. If you call this company, they're half the price. There's like internal struggles you have with that stuff. Every company get their pricing. This is what they need to charge. Whether they got more overhead, whether they have more commercials and airplanes flying in the air and more buildings, and it costs to have all that. So if a guy works out of his house and he can do the same thing, he's going to have less overhead, less costs, and so you kind of like in the back of your head, you're thinking, that side of it, But overall, learned a lot about sales.
And then you had, you went from Horizon, so you worked in all these positions, which I think is amazing. We talked to Derek last podcast, the first episode, about how important it is when you're running a team or you're running a group of people for those people to understand all aspects of the job, right? And I feel like that in turn made you. I wrote it down. I wrote it down. What I write? Undercover leader. I think of you as like kind of like you're not so face forward with how you lead, but from my experience talking to your coworkers over the years at Horizon, to knowing Anthony, the owner of Avanti now, and a couple of guys from Avanti, you kind of lead behind the scenes. Is that right? Like, you're very mild in your leading. Where I tend to just maybe micromanage a little bit, but I tend to just get the information out there. Where you're a little bit more absorbent and kind of level-headed. Yeah,
there's different styles, and all styles can get like to the same result. Like what works for you. You find so you're you might be type A and I'm type B. Like at the end of the day, we know what we got to do and get the results at it. But I do like my style. I would say is more like, and not to be like corny, but I feel like we're all just playing a part. We have different titles. Yeah. Nobody's better than anybody else. Like even when I was a sales manager, my guys made more money than me.
Yeah.
They're coming to you saying, this is ridiculous. I'm not making enough. And you're thinking to yourself, like, you make way more money than me. Like, I got to go fight for you to get, when do I get my raise? And you start to look around, you're like, 70% of these people make more money than me. And I'm like, that's the role, though.
It's a little bit humbling, right?
Yeah, because it's like most people would think, well, you're the manager, you get paid the most. Yeah. In any business, whoever's bringing in the money gets paid the most. Yeah. Doesn't matter what the business, So that's the part. Like, so whether it's sales
and what it should be, right? I mean,
that's why like you see like sometimes it's like the old guy that's been there 15 years is talking about the war stories and what he used to do. and he feels he should get paid more than the guy that's been there 2 years. If the guy that's been there 2 years is bringing in triple the money you are, whatever he's doing,
and his experience on all the latest,
he's working his own calls, he's working the nights. Like as we get older, we feel a lot of people feel that they're entitled to more and do less. You know, but it's not that. It's in anything.
How do you battle that with your staff now?
Oh, we just make it fair. We just put everything out. This is how you make money. This is we'll coach you, like we'll give everybody a fair opportunity. There's no favorites. Whoever's producing, and what I mean by that is if a guy is just like coming in here and he just wants to work, none of the BS, none of the, and maybe there's a guy that just has personal issues going on. We need to pull the throttle back on the guy that's going through stuff and maybe give him some earlier days and not say put that last call on him.
And that's half the reason I started this podcast is that comment right there. Is like we hear a lot of this bullshit of people like, I can't find employees. These guys suck. This generation sucks. That your mentality saying that sucks.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, 'cause like I look at the way you handle your employees, the way Avanti treats his employees, and even Horizon to a certain extent, just like my past job at Go Green.
Yeah.
They treated me well. I have no ill feelings to them. I'm still friends with all them. You have friends at Horizon. We're not saying that they're bad companies.
Yeah.
I'm saying that the way you handle your employees, the way Avanti handles is what I want to do. And I think vice versa. I think you guys look at us in the same way is you need to know each employee and who they are, right? Like, just like you said, there's certain times when maybe an employee's going through, maybe he had some heartache or maybe he has a breakup or maybe a family member passed away or something terrible has happened to him. And you come to him as the management or the owner and say, do what you need to do. I'll back off your schedule.
Yep.
And then you got that grinder where his mom might have died 3 days ago and he's back on Tuesday like, I won 12 hours today.
I got 4 kids. Everybody's got something different. You find that somebody that might not have kids or big bills or something might not want to work as much. It might just
they want to party.
We
did.
Somebody that's got 4 or 5 kids, and they're looking at stuff differently.
Yeah.
So they might want extra shifts and more hours. But staying in tune with that and giving it to the people that want it and the ones that don't. And it switches up. The guy that's really hustling today might back off next month or something. But it's just kind of staying in tune and
with your guys.
Where do you learn that? You mentioned doing the job, the technical aspect. You got to learn that on the job from the very beginning, right? There's no advanced help. You just kind of have to keep learning. And where do you learn the people aspect of it?
Same thing.
Yeah.
Just running through people.
Is it just is it like trial and error? You screw up with some people down, in the past, and you learn.
Exactly. It's like even like if you have we learned at Avanti, if you go to look for Indeed or something like that, and you're a technician and you're going to look at what's out there, you're looking at the different job application or different companies. We were realizing we weren't getting people to come in. And we could fall into that same trap that people don't want to work hard and all that. Or you can just look at yourself and what do we need to change? What are we doing?
I was listening to a podcast the other day, Green Grind, some green industry podcast, and he said it perfectly. Someone was doing a Facebook ad, and it was paid upon experience, anywhere from 18 to 30.
Yeah.
50 pounds you got to carry. Why are you trying to sell? That's not the person you want.
Yeah.
You want to say, come join our team, paid time off, no experience necessary. We love good people.
Yep.
Come hang out with us. Those are the posts. And I feel like you guys do an awesome job of that.
Thank you.
I mean, I feel like that's one of the points I wanted to bring up is Avanti, the way Anthony has led you guys. And I think, to be honest with you, I think the best thing Anthony ever did was hire you.
Appreciate it.
Because from what I understand about Anthony, he can be very particular. And hopefully Anthony will come on this one day. We'll see.
Oh, he
we'll
would,
see.
definitely, yeah. He told me actually he was looking for a sweatshirt before. He's like, I still owe Chris a sweatshirt. I said, I got to get over there. We're looking through the box.
I don't want one of those polos either. I want a hoodie.
Yeah,
I want something I can wear for all the year, okay?
You got it.
But I know Anthony can be very particular, and that's what, and you have a totally different style than Anthony does. So I'm sure when he brought you on, and I'll get his opinion one of these days, but I think it was a blessing for him to have you and your quiet leadership, your undercover leadership, whatever you want to call it. I would guess to say you've learned that from obviously all your experiences in the plumbing and all that. But I think it probably comes down to your parents too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because from, knowing your parents, everybody, this is a national broadcast. We're going to blow millions of followers. But growing up with Finnegan, I know his parents very well, and I know what kind of people they are. They have very, very good morals. Obviously, that was your bedrock where you got started. Do you think that was the main thing, or do you think it was your experience that brought you through to just being a kinder, gentler, understanding type person as a leader?
Yeah, I think, like you said, that was definitely instilled at a young age. Even I remember my dad telling me, we were making fun of somebody in the neighborhood when I was real little. My dad, told me, just picture that was me, because I used to be the fat kid. I used to get picked on. I mean, if you're picking on them, just you were the guys picking on me. It kind of changed my whole perspective, because we kind of just join in. Like, if you're making fun of somebody and it's like uncomfortable to say, hey, stop that, you kind of just join in. But I learned early on to not
to be
join
a
in.
good person.
Yeah, even if I didn't have the courage at that moment, depending on the individuals who were doing it, I wouldn't.
You almost still
had
that subconscious thought, though.
I wouldn't. Jump
I still
in
to this day have those thoughts
What's
of
that?
people being rude
Yeah.
at like a grocery store. I almost got. I think I was a couple seconds away from getting punched in the face down in Wildwood the other day. I went down there with my family,
Yeah.
and we had, I wasn't drinking too much, and I went to Wawa. I was like, I need a Gatorade, something. I was thirsty as hell.
Here's your mistake right there.
Yeah, I went to the Wildwood Wawa.
Yeah.
Some drama going on there. So I'm trying to check out. There's about 7,000 kids in there. And I see this guy reach behind and grab a pack of cigarettes and just swipe it on like the automatic checkout aisle. Like he didn't have to go to the thing. So I'm like, that guy's bold. And then so the manager comes over and she grabs of course, his pack of Newports out of his hand. And she's like, you can't do that. And all of a sudden, this guy went ballistic. Like, calling her names, like, just being a royal piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, I don't know what came over me, but I was like, hey, man, she don't deserve this. I'm checking out.
Yeah.
And this dude looked at me like he was going to just murder me. And he's like, is that any of your business? I was like, you're right. You're right. It's none of my business. I just thought you were being an asshole. And just kept on going. But for a brief second, I was like, I should have said that. I don't know. This world's a little bit crazier than it used to be. Maybe I should.
The old stout was creeping out.
But to your point, like, I want to I always try to find, you're not really looking when you're hiring somebody. You're not looking for somebody that is just a hustler and a great plumber. No, I want someone that's a good person.
Yeah, that's
stand up for somebody or stand by a customer and say, hey, I messed up your lawn, or hey, I messed up your drain. It's my fault. Not just blame it on the company or blame it on someone else. Take, be a good person.
Yeah, and there's it's almost kind of like there's three parts. It's like you got the guy that's good with people. Maybe his technical skill isn't there, but he's good with people and he can sell the work. You got the guy that can sell. His technical is good, but he's awful with people. So you kind of there's different pieces. But when we're interviewing, we're looking for good people. We've had people come in that, I can do 100,000 for you. I can do this. This is what I do. This is what and then the way they're not a team player. We're really trying to build a place. If you look at a lot of plumbing companies or any service companies, not too many of them. You see Jerry's retiring from being a plumber here for 35 years. We want to build a place, if that's possible, which we believe it is, where people can stay.
Yeah.
And their kids can work there one day. A lot of times people hop around because, maybe I can get $1 more over here. Maybe, I get tired of this place. I need a change. And so
I think as a company, you need to find that reason why they should stay.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's sometimes
it's
a lot of self-reflection. If I feel like I'm working hard and I'm doing everything possible, but people are leaving, there's something that I'm missing.
Well, that's what I mean. It's kind of like this. I'm trying to figure out what the happy horse shit culture is, because a lot of companies talk about, I got great culture.
Yeah,
I got great culture.
Pizza on
buzzword.
Fridays.
Such a buzzword.
Yeah.
I got great culture, and I probably said it 5 times last episode, and so I'm going to try not to use culture.
Yeah, I'm trying to get
anymore.
away from team.
Yeah, team players.
Came, the last
But
few
it's
years,
not
team is really like the team.
Or like-
I say crew anymore, and it's like it might not be proper, but like the rest of the crew,
Starting
the
five.
guy, you just got to come up with something. Everybody's saying, yeah, we got a great team.
We got a
here,
great team, great
month
culture
with the team, and like the family. And
But
like,
that's it's all like, I don't know, man. I'd love to cut through all of it. I try to keep it real as much as I can with all my guys.
Well, you talked about it in the last episode, Chris, just the way that you try to accommodate your employees. That's kind of like without calling it a culture, you just try and do right by your guys. And if they're, knowing the personalities, if there's something that makes them happy and is going to help them the rest of the time do their job at a level that you need or they're expected to, you do it for them.
Yeah, it's like a fine level line too, because you sometimes find yourself pampering too much. Too much. Like after when we first started here, and I'm bringing people into a garage to say, do you want to work here? Like, and when I was at Horizon, like, oh, let's go check out the gym. Here's the plumbing manager. Here's our technical trainer. Here's the warehouse. This is where you're showing us stuff. Now we're starting from the bottom, and we're growing really quickly here. But in the beginning, it's like I'm bringing, hey, you want to come? I'm in a garage with no heat. So like maybe people weren't too excited to jump on. We're starting to get a buzz, and we're growing. We're in a new location. Anthony and Maria just purchased another location that we're, so.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. The people are starting to see, and there's the Facebook presence, and the marketing, and all that, and So it was a point where it was like I was catering to people because I was afraid they would leave, and it was too much. They were taking advantage. But
there's a fine line.
There's a fine line because there's a percentage of people that feel like they need to find their happiness in life from their job.
And you get people that get comfortable too.
Yeah, they do, and it's like, Brian, let me get.
How
away
do you
with
handle
this.
that? Like it's me. When I handle that, it's usually like the straw, that broke the camel's back.
Yeah,
I'm not saying like 20. When I was 25 in the restaurant business, man, you drop one plate and I'll scream at you. Right. But I'm not a screamer anymore, but I'm a confronter. So like, how do you probably do it a little differently than I do. I usually just say, hey, listen, stop showing up late.
Yeah. So you do. You just got to keep that communication. You got to call people out on their stuff and bring them in and have the conversations. And it's almost like if you ever have to let somebody go, they're not surprised.
Yeah.
Like you've had conversations. You told them what we're looking for. If you ever have to get to that point, the person's almost like, can't believe I made it this long. I appreciate everything. I'll catch you around. And it's like, it's not like, I can't believe this. Like, I had no idea. Like,
That was going to happen last week.
did it?
That's what y'all say, right? Like, I thought last week I was going to get fired.
Yeah, exactly. So with that, like what we found, we had an ad on Indeed that somebody else had made, and we had not copied, we did a very similar, and we weren't getting applicants. And we're like, oh, it's the economy, and it's this. And then you're like, kids don't want to work, and you fall into that trap. And then you're just like, we have to break everything down. Like, what do we need to do different? And then you look at like, oh my gosh, this is our ad. We look like every other company.
Roto-Rooter,
That's not what we're
Horizon,
doing. Yeah, up to
Lens,
$30 an hour.
John's, Mike's,
Potential
growth.
Yeah, possibility to make $150K this year. Yeah,
get your own truck.
Well, it's like, if I'm gonna make $120K this year, I have no life.
Yeah.
I got to work 7 days a week. Like, just the potential's there, but like, what am I really gonna make? So then we switched our whole ad up and put what we're doing. And then when we put that ad out, everybody.
And then all of a sudden, you get the weird part is when you start putting ads like that. It's not so much like the plumber that's been there forever, the guy that's on Indeed looking. It's like the brother that's unhappy with the little plumber he's with. And then all of a sudden, it's like your cousin's like, oh, I would like to go work for Avanti.
Yeah.
And that Facebook present or that Instagram post, like you start being seen. And it's cool to see how you guys did that. You switched it right away. And noticed that and realized your mistake, right? Early.
Yeah.
Because now you're up to a couple guys, right? A bunch of guys. How many guys?
Total employees were at 11.
11? No shit.
There's 7 technicians.
And you started with 3? 4 of you?
It's me and Anthony.
That's it.
2 years ago, yeah.
And you have 11.
Yeah, so we were doing heating, air conditioning, plumbing, mechanical. So not only we cut out the heating and air conditioning.
Yeah.
So you're getting rid of stuff. You're trying to get calls, and you're telling people we can't come and do that anymore. You just had to make the switch. So
Well, it's. I mean, you got to cut your dead weight.
It's too much.
It's like if you're selling 5 different types of T-shirts and you're getting 90% of your sales from one T-shirt, you don't need those other 4 T-shirts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Especially, the cost of everything. You need 5 Indeed ads. You need 5 different truck setups. You need you got guys
all that
doing
equipment
plumbing and drains.
HVAC. I mean, that's
Exactly.
wild because you guys are taking. Was he installing air conditioning units too?
So I knew nothing about HVAC.
We should have had one here.
I knew nothing about HVAC, and I always felt that's the cleaner piece. I should have done that. I'm at Horizon. It's an HVAC company that does plumbing and drains. But and then the drains is like the redheaded. I love it. I love drains. I love my time. I love the dig guys. Yeah. But it was the smallest piece, the least attention. The HVAC was where it was at, and it's always like, man, I should have done that. I should have done that. And then I came to Avanti and got to do a summer of attic jobs and taking these big boilers out of basements. And I was just like, I never want. I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate it. It's like because plumbers and HVAC guys are different. Like, you're not gonna catch really a plumber. That rare hybrid of somebody that does everything. You need different truck setups. You need different tools. Like you need and it's like. A HVAC guy almost kind of looks at like plumbing is dirty. Like I don't want to do that. Drain cleaning.
And then the plumbing guy gets up in the attic's like, F this.
Yeah, I had a couple of those.
For the next 24 hours.
I fell through a ceiling. We were up in this attic all day with no air. No, it was just hot, and you're like lightheaded, and you had to everything was rigged up.
Yeah, but you had to push
everything.
You had to
push up to get up in there, and you just slipped one time, and it had like this false 2x4 that was holding the ceiling up. So my weight came on that, and I fell through. But the house was also wired for the smoke detectors, so the dust kicked up. There was about 4 fire trucks from Langhorne out front. I'm all covered in dust. Like what am I doing in life? Anthony the same day got electrocuted on some wiring that was just not done right. And it's just too much. You're trying to do too much.
And that must have been a quick decision for Anthony then.
It was because he got to the point.
He rebranded almost immediately.
Yeah, because he's such a smart person and a technical person. I think he's got 3, 4, 5 master licenses.
Yeah.
I mean, he just got a CDL yesterday just to get it.
Just to get it.
Yeah, so he's
gonna buy a truck.
He has it. He had the truck. Yeah, so it's like for him it was always another challenge, and he got into so much, and now COVID happens, and and all this and. We just got to the point where we said we just need to do water heaters and toilets.
Yeah.
Like, how do we just get every water heater and toilet?
Yeah.
And then it was like the sewer piece. We paid more attention to the drain. How do we just get the sewer? Like, how do we keep it simple?
Yeah.
Like, not
keep your bread and
overstep.
butter.
Yeah. Because you're doing too much. You're sending, hey, go over here, and you find guys stressed out more. They're like, they like a routine.
And all this is skilled labor.
Yeah.
Right. And as much as we made fun of people not saying, it would be harder to find employees if you have to hire for a drain guy, a plumbing guy, an HVAC guy. There's not many, from what I'm understanding, there's not many hybrid guys that can do it.
Nah, and even in the plumbing trade itself, you got the guys that specialize in the sewers and drains or water treatment. That's huge. That's a thing by itself. Companies just doing softeners and reverse osmosis. So there's so many pieces of it anymore. There's so much with it. It's almost kind of like, and then people call you, and through the years you have to overcome that. Like you get to their house and I want you to do this, 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 and this. And you're like, okay, well, I do this. I can get a guy out here that does this. What do you mean you don't know how to do that? Well, no, you bought this expensive shower faucet from Japan that you purchased. Like, there's no class on this.
Yeah.
You're reading the instructions. The plumber comes to your house. Something comes out yesterday, and now everybody wants it. There was no like Plumbing of America got together and said, let's learn how to put in this new mowing, touchless, wall hung, something or other.
Yeah.
The professional is there. It's plumbing, but you're reading the instruction manuals in the customer's house, or you're watching YouTube videos because, 50 years ago, plumbers rode around with coffee cans with the same washers, and everybody had the same faucets. It was like, oh,
bunch of copper pipes,
$25, man. It's like, and people come up, they have this. I want you to put this in. And you get halfway through and there's a piece missing. So it's more involved, and there's a certain person that wants to even mess with that.
Yeah.
Like a dig crew guy wants to do digs. He doesn't want to be in somebody's house talking to him about a faucet or anything. The service guys want to do the service. There's new construction guys.
You had them split up now, obviously, of those 11. I mean, you got some people answering the phones and stuff like that.
Yep.
So eight technicians on the road, something like that?
Currently it's seven, right? Yeah.
So of those 7, they all do the same thing or they're split up?
No, so we actually have like a dig crew.
Okay.
It's digging up broken pipes and water lines and gas lines, running gas lines to swimming pool heaters and stuff like that. Like that's a crew. They're set up for that. So you have like a crew lead. You'll have a second and a helper per se. Then you have 3 plumbers and a plumbing helper. And then we have like 1 drain specialist that does the drain cleaning.
I know the drain specialist.
Dylan. Yeah.
He's the man.
Yeah, he does a great job.
Guy.
All these guys do a great job. Great crew.
So you got these employees, you're set up. How are you growing, right? So we talk a lot about marketing. We always like to touch a little bit here on the Root Zone podcast about marketing. When we started marketing, we did a lot of direct mail to get our name out there. So we were sending tens of thousands of like cheap Valpak or whatever bullshit to get our names out there. I'm amazed. I didn't know how fast you guys grew. I didn't know you had 11 people now. That's amazing. What can you contribute that success to? I know you're doing, Facebook, all that stuff. I know that's all good. Did you do any print mail? What were you doing on that end?
It's because like all my experience at the other companies, this is all new to me. So we're all learning it together. Yeah. So, which I enjoy that piece, figuring this stuff out and working with other people and figuring, So you try different stuff. There is trial and error, and then you think, okay, it's $1,500 to mail out to this whole neighborhood.
Yeah.
And then you're like, boom, we did it. And nobody calls, and you're like what? Cricket. This was a terrible idea. Whose idea was that? Like, who signed off on that? You're like, but it's all just like collective. Yeah. Like I learned that from you actually. If I was to say, hey, we put 90% of our budget into Google, and that's gonna feed us. You get a good amount from Google, but you can't say now that we did this, we're gonna be busy. Yeah. So the biggest piece, we break it down and look at it. The biggest piece is your repeat customers, return customers. So
like on the same concept, like because we're a recurring, business. So I know Avanti's trying to find some sort of reoccurring business to get into, but we're reoccurring. So I consider referrals, right? Mm-hmm. So you have kind of reoccurring when if you do a good job the first one, you have better, you're going to get that job the next time they have a problem.
Yeah. So that's the biggest piece is having good people, so maybe this guy isn't a sales guy or talking people into work. Like you get different stuff at different companies. Everybody's a good person. They have a problem. Let's figure it out. Do good, clean work. Don't be a hack and just to blow through stuff to get to the next one to try to go home. Like you got to find people that are going to take pride in their work. So when, we put it in, we're not going back embarrassed or getting callbacks or upsetting people have to take off work.
So we'll call those referrals, right? Like you get kind of referrals, like repeat customers.
Repeat customers, yeah.
And then if that's like your main piece, which is like for us, referrals are our main piece. What do you think your second in line is?
Google.
Where do you Google? You think you're
Google? Yeah. When people see reviews, that's the biggest thing. Because we ask every customer, "How'd you hear about us?" The next thing in line, it's either, "Oh, you guys have been to my house before," or it's, "I was looking, online." Everybody says online. It might have been Facebook. It might have been collectively. But then a lot of times people say, "I saw your reviews on Google. You got really good reviews."
Right. So then you can attest that lead to Google, right?
Yep.
Do you have an internal program that tracks leads like that? Like, so if Mrs. Jones calls, you can put it in as a Google lead or as a Facebook lead or that's awesome.
Yeah.
See, and like that's where in our industry, green industry, we have a bunch of CRM programs. Real Green, Jobber, all these other ones. Service Titan wasn't that
a big one? Yeah,
wasn't that a plumbing one?
That we used that at my last company.
Yep.
We're using House Call Pro, which is kind of like his little brother.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah,
right?
It's doing the same thing.
And now does that track your technicians and is everything mobile now basically, so there's no paper? Like are they still getting papers in the morning?
No, everything goes through the phone, iPads. Everything goes to that program.
Yeah, that's great. And you can track them, right? Obviously there's tracking and
there's all kinds of stuff they create, and you kind of it's for different businesses, so you figure out a way to make it work for yourself, but ultimately it's going through everything.
Now, when a technician goes out, like through that CRM system, getting back to the marketing piece, so we do a lot of like internal marketing to our customer base, right? So if Eric goes out and does a lawn care and sees that they have a lot of shrubs or bushes or, up against a forest back there, and they, hey, have you heard about our bug control?
Yeah.
So we can, our CRM system, we can just hit a button and they basically just get an estimate for how much it costs for our bug control.
Yep.
Is that similar to what your program offers? Can your technicians upsell on the job? Do your sales guys have that opportunity too?
Yep. So they go in looking for it's like a fine line too, because plumbing is very expensive.
Yeah.
Most of the time, people just want to fix what they have to.
Yeah.
And you're in there saying, "Well, while I'm here, if you want to do this and do this," you're like, "Oh,
I guess." See, that's why I wanted to bring on a plumber. I don't know. Like, I guess that is a different. I never even thought about that. Like, if you're coming to fix something, I don't want you to upsell me anything.
Yeah, a lot of times people are inconvenienced. They want to try to get back to work. So we coach the guys to don't go in there with the blinders on, and just want to hurry up and get out of there and get to the next one so you can go home or something. But take the time at the customer's house, but read the room too. So if you notice a crusty valve in the basement, it might last another 3 years. It might blow tomorrow. We should talk about it. Say, look, I don't know if you're interested right now, but that doesn't look too good. I could give you a price on that if you want. Yeah. And they might say, yeah, please do that. Yeah, I was wondering about that. That is pretty bad. Or they might say, I don't have time for any of this. I don't want to buy anything else.
Give you a perfect story. I had Avanti, obviously, come fix. What do they fix?
Oh, your well tank.
Yeah, my well pressure tank. Something happened. Burst. 25 gallons of water on my basement. That was a terrible call to get. That's third time that basement is flooded, and it has 2 sump pumps. You'd think I know a plumber or something.
We've been there a couple times.
So anyway, they fixed that job. Phenomenal job. Very upfront. Price was reasonable. And I think a lot of people, as you get older, everybody's on a budget. I get that.
Yep.
But sometimes a plumber is one of those scenarios where, like, I don't want to shop around. I wanted you to call me back. First of all, that's the first. If you want to start a business, just call people back.
As much as you can answer
the phone and call people back. If you want to start any successful business, if you can't do those 2 things really, really good, don't even try.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
And then I was like, hey man, I got this leak right here. What is this? And I guess it was my heat pump that heats my house. I have a baseboard heat, right? And it was, I don't know, some faucet, some plumbing thing. He's like, yeah, we could probably fix it now, but it's the summertime. You don't need to fix it. Like, we can wait till fall time. We're gonna pay X amount of dollars for this pump that you got to put in. Let's just figure this out in a couple months. As someone that's in a service industry, I was like, thank you. Like, that was like how you approach things. It's the same thing when we're selling a lawn. We're not trying to sell them on the greatest package. And you see all these companies. Oh, we got a gold package, a platinum package. We're not in the business to sell you everything at once. We're in the business to retain you as a customer, to trust us, and for us to explain what our program is, what we do.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, I'd rather get a customer and say, hey, now you have lawn care. Let's see how your lawn looks at the end of the year, and then we'll talk about other things. Because there's no point in you saying, let me put all this blind trust in Stout Lawn Care. I'd rather you just say, here, do the basics, and then build our trust throughout the year. And that's what you say, like a face-to-face meeting. Mm-hmm. There's certain guys that get it, but like, we have a lot of face-to-face meetings, and that's how you get customers, is like actually being a human being, talking to customers, respecting them, being nice to them. It sounds so simple, but I feel like sometimes it's pretty hard. Yeah,
a lot of times it's like we're all people, and there's like emotions in it. So like, You gain experience. At first, you're younger. You're like, is this guy coming at my neck? Like, is he yelling at me? Like, screw him. I'm here to help him. Like, he's yelling at me. Yeah. Obviously, the guy's stressed out. Like, the whole goal is by the end of it, you're laughing and joking, or they appreciate you that you were there.
I couldn't say it better.
You can't, like, you walk into a situation like, this guy's, like, we get, like, let's say we fix that leak for you.
Yep.
And 3 days later, you have another leak, and it's spitting water all over, and you're flooding again at 10 o'clock at night. Once in a while, you get that phone call. You guys were just out here. I just paid all this money. Yep. This is ridiculous. Yep. Da, 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 da. And I know in my head, there's a 99.9% chance it's not related to what we did. I know that. Do any company make a mistake? Is there faulty fittings, manufacturer defects? There is. But we can have the right people going into the house, not hacking it together. I know that it's most likely not related to us. But it's an emergency to them. They're upset. you're very important to us. You're our top priority. We're going to get out there and take care of it.
It's the same thing across all service industries. That's why I think this podcast is amazing, because you can correlate that story to any in a service industry. A restaurant, for example, you cooked a perfect medium steak. You sent it out there. A person's like, it's not medium. What do you mean it's not medium? Yeah. I cooked 875 steaks in 2 days here on the grill. That is a medium steak. That is perfect medium, but you just do what you have to do, right? Yep. And same thing in the lawn care. Like, we have customers that call us and say, oh my God, I got weeds everywhere. Well, listen, you've had 2 visits. Yeah. You know, do you think a golf course was done in 2 applications? They had a beautiful lawn. You know, sure. I tell customers all the time, if I had the ability to make your lawn beautiful in 2 visits, I wouldn't be talking to you, because I'd be a very, very wealthy person.
Absolutely.
Right? It's a process. Same thing with plumbing. Like, just because we're fixing this doesn't mean your rotten pipe 2 feet away isn't going to burst, because now you have a proper fitting. It's going to hold pressure.
And you
right?
got to really paint the picture for people and come up with some sort of analogy that makes sense to them. Yeah. You know, and not talking so much technical, but really it's like, well, how do I know, you know, this didn't happen because we didn't come in here and shake your pipes and try to make something else leak one day, you know.
Or we didn't come plant all this grass seed.
Yeah.
Well, why didn't water it?
Well, why didn't you give me a price for this last? Yeah. So are you suggesting that we go to every house that has a leaky pipe and say, it'll be $40,000 and I'm going to repipe your home today? Like, this way I can guarantee you won't have any leaks. My name's on the whole thing. Any problems is on us. Yeah, it's Other than that, people just want to pay for what they have to do at that time, and they don't want to pay any more. So if it was $3,000 to fix that leak, look, what, you mean it's $3,000 again? You know, or whatever the price is, $400. It's whatever it is. Yes, unless we replumb your whole house. Yeah. Like, I would love to give you the peace of mind. It's like we do a sewer repair. Yeah. Somebody's got a 100-foot sewer. It's old terracotta, and the pipe is broken. And we said, look, we can replace the whole thing for $15,000. Or you can fix this for $7,000. This is what you need for it to work today. You might get another 10 years out of the store. I can't tell you, but I'm giving you the options. Yeah. You know, but if in 3 years from now there's another break, you're gonna pay another $7,000. Like you know, so you kind of put it out there.
It's the same thing. Well, what's in your lawn care budget? That's what one of my first questions. Like, what do you want to get out of your lawn? Do you want Augusta? Cool. We can sign up. You need seedings, fungicides, lawn care, bug control. You need it all. Yep. It'll give me a year, 2 years. That thing will be beautiful. Yep. But if you just want less weeds and you're not really concerned about having Augusta, then great. Yeah. I mean, the customers. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask, do you guys ever have to pull back on the customers' expectations? You're both, so like you're dealing, Chris, with repeat customers, and you're not. But do you ever get into something where you've got to maybe, like you just said, hey, this is what you actually want. This is what you said you want to pay for, not what you...
You have to really document it. It's
or you get into a job halfway and now you realize, oh, we're in it with this. They need immediate something else, rather than they go, no, patch it up. I don't want it.
Yeah, so it comes down to, we see that situation. It's like, hey, we'll start here. We'll do what we can to keep it here, but looking at this and based off experience, you might have to do this as well. And if somebody says, you know what, I'm going to hold off. I get, my tax return in a month. Like, I don't want to jump into this and have to do all this. Whatever we could do to help. Like, you just give people the options. You kind of educate them. They make their decision.
What's in their plumbing budget? Like, right? What can they take care of right now? Like, I got a perfect example. I'm going to see a customer in probably next week. And he's like, man, can you come look at my lawn? It's got filled with weeds. I'm like, I know. Well, you haven't had an application in 48 days. You skip your summer visit. Yeah. What do you want me to do? Yep. Like, there's a specific time that these weeds come up, and there's a specific time we can spray for them, and you do not want an application during that specific time. Yep. So think about this year. It was super dry. Then all of a sudden July came, and it's like a rainforest out here in the Northeast. So it's 100 degrees and it's raining every other day. So what's going to happen? It's Mother Nature. That's what I love to like break it down for my customers is like, if you're going to pay $1,000 for a seeding, but not spend $38 at Walmart and buy a hose and a sprinkler and spend another $50 in your watering bill, that doesn't make any sense to me. It's just like if you go to a garden center and you buy 10 tomato plants and plant them, don't plant them. Just put them on your patio and don't water them and see what happens to them. It's a poor investment, right? So you have to be on board with what we're describing.
Yeah.
How often does that work? Polite education to where they
50%
actually
of the time.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd say it comes down to like your customer base too.
Yeah.
You know, like
Who
we
they
said,
are.
our repeat customers. You know, just treating them the right way. And like I feel like when I was at a big corporate company, more people were trying to get over, or like
100%.
you know, like everybody's smarter than like the people that have been doing it 20 years. You know, and it's like I've even done stuff like that, but it's like, you know, like I bought this my new house, and I got a 15-year-old air conditioner, and you know, I'm going to try to get it under insurance. I'm going to try to say that this did this, and at the end of the day, it's a 15-year-old air conditioner. You could try to spin your wheels and get over and try to beat the system, but
I know.
the professionals that are coming to your house know everything you're doing. They know your next move. They know, and you know what I mean. So it's like
You got a house.
People
you got a house in
have-
Gladwin. It's
Yeah.
been there since
Yeah.
1840.
Exactly, like Elkins
they have
Park,
leads that have
Cheltenham.
been there since 1840.
Yeah.
And a bigger company, they call us up. I remember answering the phone, being a customer, basically the leader of the customer service team, and saying, you know, you've had 2 visits. We can't perform miracles. And they would argue and they would get it. And I'm like, I'll send a free service call down to you and we'll spray them again. You know, and it's like, it's frustrating, but like,
Yeah.
That's why I like the size we're at. We'll have different guests on here that have bigger, way larger companies and smaller companies. Just a personal opinion in my business, is I like to keep it a little bit smaller so that way we can educate better, right? And I feel like that makes my technicians' jobs easier. It makes my job easier. It makes my CRMs, you know, my customer representatives' jobs easier. So we went on a tangent, long tangent, real quick, marketing. Just like us, you guys are out in the community. I mean, you guys are doing a lot of events. I see you at, you know, all kinds of community days.
Yeah, Limerick Community Day this Saturday, 12 to 3. You'll catch us over there.
It'll be a month and a half late after this podcast is released, but this is not live.
Yep.
These are very new to everybody.
We do hope it went well though.
We're excited for you. We're excited for Avanti. But you do a lot of these community events. They're awesome. Like I not even do I like, you feel good as a person, first of all. Like I try to like, I kind of, as an unwritten rule, a lot of people in business are going to yell at me about this, but like anything that we can sponsor under $250,
Yeah.
I like have like me and Steve have an understanding, just do it. Right? Like we might end up spending $5,000 on all these little events. We do like 5 or 6 golf ones that are $200-$300 a pop, and like, but leads, you know, what we talk about all the time when we talk on the phone, like I feel like it's just everything. And how has Facebook and, you know, have you gotten direct leads from that? Like, do you feel like that, like, oh, I called you because I saw you at the Limerick?
I think it gets back to even like the mailers. Like you're hoping by sending this out today, you'll get 20 calls.
Yeah.
But it's like maybe it's sitting on somebody's fridge and they see it for a year.
Yeah.
And then they don't even think of it when they say I need a plumber. But then like they go on and say plumber near me, and they see Avanti and they're like, I've heard of them. I don't know where. So it's that name recognition, but all that collectively. So between church bulletins, you know, we look at it every month, and you might get 0 calls from that. You might get 1 call next month for $2,000. You might get 1 call 3 months later for $189. Like, but so you can't. I feel like you can't really bank on one thing. You got to kind of spread it out.
Yeah.
Like definitely.
And that's been the secret sauce, I feel like.
Yeah, just in general, just like I said, the biggest piece is taking care of the customers. Like you said, like with like we just yesterday with one of
Like
our
an
guys.
open and honest approach. Almost.
Yeah, like one of our guys went out, camera the line, found a break, told him it was broken, showed him on the camera, and the customer had decided to dig it up himself, you know, save himself some money. So he can't find the break. So he automatically he calls on a tangent, yelling and screaming, your guy tried to rip me off, you know, this, and that. And I said, sir, like, I don't work for a big corporate company.
Yeah.
There's not 50 people, and I'm thinking, who's he talking about?
Yeah.
Who's, you know, like, it was Dylan.
Yeah.
I know what Dylan's doing. He's a good person. He's not doing that. I can 100% say with confidence,
Guarantee.
That's not what happened. If anything, he made a mistake. Maybe it was a turn in the pipe. He thought it was broken. Maybe an honest mistake. But it turns out to save, you know, face value and to make the customer happy, he's yelling and screaming. And, you know, I want you to come back out here and camera again. I'm like, well, that costs money. Let me see what I can, do. I'll get back to you. But by the end of it, he's like, I'll go on Google. I'm going to write a bad review. And I said, look, you have to do what you feel you need to do. If you go on our page right now, you're not going to find one other review that says that we ripped them off and tried to sell them something. You're not going to find it. You can look through 500 reviews. We have really good reviews because we're not doing that. Yeah. We're not a big company. Like I know who. Yeah. So we sent Dylan back out there.
Yeah.
Dylan told him originally it was broken in the wall. So now he's dug up 30 feet of pipe in his yard, but the spot that it says on the contract where it's broken. He re-showed the guy, says, oh my goodness, I'm sorry. But he was all, I'm going to destroy you guys. I'm going to smear your name. And I'm going to, so like you have to decide as a company, are we going to lose the money on doing a free camera? And because you know how, if you get a bad review and you're trying to, hey, what can we do to figure this out? Like, I don't want you upset.
I've learned in customer service, 1 in 10 will not be happy. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Like I look at, we have about 700 customers now, and this is a peak season. We're in July, so when this airs, it'll be a month or two, or in August. Shoot. We're getting a lot of service calls right now. Mm. And that's because the lawns don't look good right now. They don't. It's the middle of summer. Sure. Everything's not looking good. But like when you think about how many customers we have 700 customers. We visit them 6 times a year, and we're going to do 60 service calls the entire year. Yeah. So we did, I don't know, let's do some math. Anybody? 6 times 7 is what? So we did 4,200 visits, and we got 60 callbacks.
Yeah.
That's a pretty damn good percentage.
It's a really good percentage. Yeah.
Right? So we beat ourselves up in the service industry about all these bad people. Like, we always think about how bad, how upset people are. But I try to remind our guys on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, like, people are happy with us. We are growing. Mm-hmm. Don't get discouraged by your service calls. Don't get discouraged by some upset customers. Make light of it. Try to turn that, like you said, get in that house, and by the end of it, you're bullshitting and joking around.
Just like
something.
It's human beings.
Yeah.
Like even with that, it doesn't excite Dylan. He has to go back to somebody that's accusing him of lying and trying to sell him something, but he's going back there. We're not running from this.
To clarify.
This is what it was. It doesn't excite him. It doesn't help him as an individual have to go, the anxiety driving there.
And
somebody might want to yell in your face. Yeah. And this is stuff like, that's what one of the toughest things about being a technician, I would say, it's not even the work itself. It's dealing with people, going into a hostile situation, But if you yourself have figured it out that by the time I'm done here, they're going to be happy.
Yeah.
So,
and that's a part of a leader. You leading this team is showing and telling them that, and like be that has to be part of training. Is training people to understand other people, or training your guys or your gals to understand other people, and that you can be as nice as you want, and they can still be upset.
Yep.
And it's not your fault. It's not your fault at all. Get over it.
Part of the business.
Just get over it. And the last couple of years at my previous job was rough. We had thousands of customers, and they were calling every day and complaining.
Yeah.
But then I ran the numbers again, and it's like a couple percentage are upset out of our 3,000 customers, 3,000 times 7, we're doing 20,000 visits, and we did 200 service calls. So what,
That's every industry probably, right?
Right.
Everything. The most negative are always the loudest.
Always.
Yeah. And, with that too, like I've definitely found somebody calls and says, hey, this customer, and this wasn't even, we don't really get complaints, and I don't want to say that, but we really don't.
Yeah.
And at my last company, a larger company, maybe, somebody gives you a message, this person's really upset. They want to talk to a manager. I told them you call within like 24 hours, this and that. I'm calling them right away.
Yeah.
Like they called 5 minutes ago. I call them, hey, this is Brian, blah, 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 blah. Oh, well, that was quick. They're thrown off all the way. Like you automatically, if you make them wait for 3 days and then you call them, there's heat, they're festive. It's like, you just call me like, yeah, like I heard you were upset. Like something happened. Let's figure it out. Like, well, your guy was out here and he did this, and this, and he was great for the most part, but on his way out, he got mud on my carpet. okay, what was the carpet? You know, it's like an area rug or something like, and you know, that was $25. And you're like, okay, so this is what it's about. You know, like you're just having that conversation with somebody.
All right, so
they will smear you for a $25 carpet.
That's what I love about it. This like culture that we have in these industries is like, all right, so we got a customer calls. I've heard this 10 times. I need to speak to a manager.
Yeah.
Immediately. Immediately. Not tomorrow. So I get on the phone. Hello, this is Chris. What can I do for it? Your technician is terrible at what he does. And I'm like, all right, sorry. What happened? He was dragging that hose through my yard and took out 3 of my solar lights. And I'm like, oh, all right, I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. Where'd you get those? I got them at Walmart. Great. I'm going to credit your account. How much were they? $17. I'm going to credit your account. $40, ma'am.
Inconvenience.
Yeah, sorry for the inconvenience. Do you want me to ship them directly to you?
Yeah.
Like, so that's like, did it have to get to a manager? Probably not, but that's just that person that called. Not the CRM's fault or not the customer service person. Like, not your fault as the manager. It's that person's just, that's who they are.
Yeah, and I think because of as a culture where like customer service in general might not be that good. If I need to schedule something with Comcast today or Verizon, you get passed from this person to this person, then your call gets dropped. So most of the time, we all might feel like, am I going to hear back from this person?
Yeah.
So then somebody calls you the same day, fixes your concern. But somebody like that for $17 lights might have went on Google, smeared you, told everybody in their neighborhood, they're on a Facebook group, these guys were awful, blah, 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 blah. Like, what did it cost you to not pick up the phone, fix it, and mail them a $40 gift card?
Well, I mean, we talk about it a lot, but I think the key to small business is just
it's that personal touch.
Personal and just being receptive and responsive, right? Being super responsive and, like you said, call them back. Like, that person's complaining, don't wait till you feel like doing it. Do it right then. It's just so much easier to deal with the problem. And that's why I try to teach my technicians, like, if you bust a light, just knock on the door or like
let us know. Like, let's just get a new light. There's no reason. You don't have to be scared.
So
like, I'm not gonna yell at you.
I'll give you a funny story. I had a guy. Man, this guy was a mess. But he was doing an aeration seeding of this property in just a very affluent area in the Philly region, and he was backing a truck down, and this guy had a custom. What do they call them? Sconces. I think they're sconces.
Oh yeah, like the lights.
Yeah, but I think they're
like in the garden, or
no. But he had them hanging. Listen.
Like wall lights or something.
But no, he had a weavy driveway, kind of windy driveway, and this guy was trying to back down a trailer, and it was an October morning, and it was really wet. It had rained the night before, and he's backing down the trailer, and this guy has these wrought iron lights, custom made, that are along his driveway. Probably at one every 30 feet, something.
Expensive.
I mean, beyond expensive. This guy proceeds to back a trailer into one, runs it over entirely, smashed glass. This thing's 3 feet tall by a foot wide, this glass piece, where he had his lights. Smashes it, rolls it over, gets the truck stuck in the front yard. Dead serious. And the trailer. Couldn't wait to get out of the way. He just tried to put it and get out of there.
That's
right?
terrible.
So he doesn't get it out. What does he proceed to do? Not call his manager, not call me, not call anyone at the company. But he flagged down a trash guy and said, "Can you pull me out of here?" So they chained up.
Here we
the trash guy backed down. The trash guy, whoever
what an awesome trash guy.
I was gonna say, shout out to that guy.
Yeah, I don't know what.
That's
He must get a huge tip from this house every Christmas.
That's a gamer, man.
But I was like, what an idiot trash guy. Who volunteers for this? So he backs down. Luckily, the trash guy kind of knew what he was doing. And they get him out. Trash kind of goes in the yard, but they rip up another sconce. I pull out. And I get down there thinking, this guy is going to murder me. Like, he's going to murder me. Yeah. He's gonna rip me to shreds. I get down there, and this guy's like, man, shit happens.
That's awesome. Oh, my goodness.
He took me, like, he lived in like this beautiful area, had a creek in his backyard. He has a beautiful $1 million house with a huge deck. He walked me around and asked me, hey, do you think you guys can get grass to grow along this creek side? Like that was his concern. So like you gotta like, you never know what you're walking into. Like you never know. Like that, if I was him, I would have been furious, but he wasn't. I mean, it was a $3,800 mistake. I think that's what that sconce or whatever the hell it was cost. The wrought iron thing just fell over, so that was straight and flat, but the glass piece broke.
Yeah.
You know, being your friend, seeing what you've done with your, you know, accomplishments and being as successful as you are, why did you never want to do it on your own? Or did you have thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's more like it comes back to personality type, like A type, B type. Like we're all tick different ways. Like somebody like an Anthony, he's pushing to do the next thing. He's not content with, you know, like he wants to get a CDL. He like it's in him as a person to do the next thing. Yeah. Whereas like, you know, like learn the next thing. You know, take the risk on buying a building, like that kind of stuff. Like I'm
$80,000 excavator.
Yeah, exactly. Like $40,000 like sewer liner equipment. You know, it's in him to take those risks.
Yeah.
So like my personality is, I don't gamble. I never. Even when we went to the casinos and stuff, when we went to AC, I was, you know, maybe more at the bar or something. Like I don't gamble. You know, so it's like for me, like I didn't want to take that risk. I'd say. I feel like a lot of times in business, you know, there's business owners that make the same amount of money as a technician at another company. Me personally, I like the part of helping to grow a business, you know, but there's also, it's very consuming, as you know. I have my nights and weekends off. I have 3 kids. I'm at that point where it was like I could maybe try to do something like that, but and you know, and I'll be dad that works really hard, and I'm home sometimes, but I'm home with my kids.
I get it, because I mean, I'm going through this month, and listen, I signed up for this. I love it, and I hate it. Most of the time, I love it. So that's hopefully the goal. And these last 3 weeks have been insane. Not only because of my schedule, my personal schedule. I went on vacation.
Yep.
I had my business partner, Steve. He went on vacation with me. So we had 2 guys out. Another one of my guys was on vacation. So we're going through this like cycle of vacations where you, as kind of an employee, you don't have to deal with that cycle of vacations. You have to do the scheduling and all that. But listen, you go on vacation, you come back, Anthony might need to jump in. Where it's kind of what I have to do the next couple of days and in these past couple of weeks is maybe jump in or maybe do a little bit more scheduling. As being a close friend of yours, I was wondering why you didn't do it. And I guess that makes sense, you know, and that is a perfect segue to like my last question of the day. But before I get in the last question, I always try to do a little research on my guests. So I texted your wife, Brandy. I don't know if she told you.
No.
All right, good. Thank goodness. I'm getting away with this. This is 2 in a row, Brad. 2 in a row. So I said, you know, I always say, can you give me something we can launch to the world and talk about maybe something funny, some stories about Brian. So one thing I want to say, thank you for coming on this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Friend. I really appreciate it. I think it's going to be fun. Hopefully it blows up. We'll see what happens. Or we'll just have fun with it. But the first thing she said was that you're a family man.
Yeah.
And I value that to the highest extent because growing up, didn't have a dad around. So I looked to my friends' dads for guidance. And Mr. Finnegan, your dad, was one of those people. And so her saying that was not a surprise to me by any means, just like Derek giving the shirt off his back to anyone. I knew Derek was like that, but I knew you are a family man. I respect that. And I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, like you said, too, like, there's only so much time in the day. I learned that as I got older. I got even coming to Avanti, like, you know, you working the years of 16-hour shifts and sleeping in trucks and doing all that. And it's like, I'm a man. It's my job to do this stuff and all. But it takes away from something.
Yep.
You know, so we really have gotten it to the point where we're a family business, Monday through Friday.
Yep.
Weekends off. We go in for 8 to 10 hours, get it done, bust our ass, and then we go home and we spend the time on the family. Because, you know, overtime is great, especially when you're younger. But if you're doing overtime, it's less family time. It's less. It takes from something.
Well, it's one of the things you learn real fast. And if you don't learn it, shame on you, I think. You know, I look at money as I never had it growing up. I don't really not respect it. I mean, you got to respect money. Like, maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. But I don't look at it, I think, a lot like people do, other people do. I kind of look at money as something that provides me with things that I want and I need, you know? And if I don't have a lot of it, I don't have a lot of it. But if I got my family, if I got time with my family, you know, not growing up with dad, like I can't imagine not where I'm at now, running my own business, you know, and I love working for Go Green, but those hours were just gonna prevent me from having the time with my family. So
Yep. That's what
nothing
definitely.
better than time, man.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be a millionaire to have time. Like we don't have a big house, we don't have a boat, we don't have a second house, we don't have any of that stuff. But we spend a lot of time with family and friends.
You make,
a lot.
Yeah, you make your decisions.
Yeah.
You know, it's like somebody that's not married might say, I wish I was married. Somebody that's married might say, I wish I was single. You know, somebody might say, I wish I had more family time. So I wish I had more money. There's only so much time in a day. You have to make your choices
Yeah.
and go with it. So my choice is my family. You know, that was instilled in me by my father. You know, he was around, my mom was around. So I think that goes hand in hand. We even taught that at a young age, you know, saying prayers at night, you know. We'd rather have family. We'd rather everybody be healthy. Like money's not important. That was kind of instilled in me at a young age. And
eating grilled cheeses 3 days a week.
yeah,
Like,
it doesn't matter. Yeah,
Don't
and
matter.
you know my pop too. Cause
That's the
we
best
might
grilled
eat,
cheese I ever had
We
in my
might eat
life,
grilled
man.
cheese. We could eat fish sticks, but the
Yeah.
air conditioner was on.
Air conditioners, thank God.
In October.
Yeah. your dad loved the cold room, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, you pick and choose. You know, if I wanted to have a shore house right now, I know I'd have to work a lot more.
Yeah.
I'd have to get a second job. I'd have to, you know, get more hours, you know, like, but
Yeah. And maybe it comes.
Everything comes with sacrifice, right?
absolutely. And the people that have it, you can't look at them and say, oh, they got it. They busted their ass.
Yeah, somehow they got it.
Yeah. Some people are giving stuff. That's a smaller percentage, but
Yeah. And that's why I love the service industry, because I would dare to say that most of the people that start in the service industry are like good people. I feel like, I don't know, that they have like a drive to succeed at what inspires them, and they want to like bring people with them.
yep.
I think that's cool. I think like Avanti does it. I don't know, like we'll get a chance to talk to Anthony one of these days, and you ever talk to that guy, he loves some plumbing. Like he can talk your ear off about not just plumbing, just his industry in general. And I could talk anybody's. So Brad, I could talk your ear off about grass.
You
if
got to have a
wanted to,
passion, right?
And we talked about his dog has his own personal.
Yeah, you
grass
were very
bed.
into that. Yeah.
I was like, what kind of grass
What's
is
the
it, Brad?
size?
Well, how big is the grass? Do you take care of it? Do you cut it? What are you doing?
You can water it, right?
But that's
You
the,
water it?
and that's the thing too. Like you had said, like coming on at Avanti, you've noticed the growth. I brought my piece to it, but without Anthony's piece, that doesn't work. And
I mean, it's perfect.
I just met with an old friend today, Anthony Janowski, and we worked together at our last company. He loves training people. He loves figuring out. That's why I'm saying type A, type B. He figures out the type of person, and not everything works for everybody, but he loves the training piece. He's got 150 trainings on technical stuff,
Yep.
dealing with customers that are upset, all that stuff. And we haven't had time. There's not enough time for everything, you know, like, and the finance kind of stuff is my piece, and the marketing and the service, you know, but we're going to start bringing him in to do the training piece, because the guys need the trainings.
Yeah.
You know, he gets pushed to the side.
Well, it's hard. It's a hard thing to do when you're not good at it. Like you said, like Anthony has one side, you have your side.
Maria has her piece.
Maria has
she
her
like grounds
piece.
us both. We might be like, yo, we're going to do this. Da, da, da. She's like, wait, what are we doing? And then, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
like
why I have
she
Steve.
has
Like
her piece.
Steve is great on his end of like, you know, handling all our social media and getting the posts scheduled and creating content and like being on top of emails. Like our contact box never has an email in it. I mean, for the first 3 years, I was like, oh my God, this contact box, like I can't keep up with it. It's not a problem anymore. As it wasn't my strong suit. My strong suit is similar to the guy you want to bring in, is training. I love training. I love getting out there with the guys. I like looking up at my whiteboard and like the guys make fun of me, like you look like a teacher and like you're always making pictures on your whiteboard, and I'm like, well, it's easier to explain something when I can like teach it to you guys and like kind of like draw it up on the board. And so like I know that aspect of me. And so when I talk to Brandy, I also ask for something funny about you. We all know that you still are a gamer. Are you still a gamer? You still playing games a lot?
I mean, with 3 kids, you know, and they're
Less.
getting older. Even if I put the control in my hand, I get it for about 30 seconds before Fortnite goes on, or you know, something else. Like, so with them.
We know you're a gamer, but I didn't know you were taking up like a coaching profession, and I don't even think that you knew you were taking up a coaching profession. So I heard that you signed up your youngest son Jackson for baseball.
Yes.
And you were the coach.
Yes, and that's.
But you didn't know that you were the coach.
No, and she's like, she was upset. His coach won't get back to us. He's not letting us know in the first practices and all this stuff. She asked me one day, "Do you want to be a coach?" And I said, "Yeah, I can do like an assistant. I can't do like the main thing." Yeah. Well, the main guy couldn't do it anymore, and then they were emailing me, and my work email, I'll answer you within 20 minutes every day. Like, but the personal email,
I think that's your type. Now that I'm thinking about it, that must be your type B like personality or whatever you want to call it. Because as a long time, I would say close friend, you're terrible at getting back to messages sometimes. So like, I guess.
But if you were to email my work email,
I gotta
you get my work email, that is
gone.
It's guaranteed. I'll get it in a few minutes. You know, like, the work email, because I'm so plugged into that, and you got like group text going on throughout the day, and then you're like, oh man, this is from like 4 days ago. I feel like a jerk. I never got back to this person.
Are you now the head coach?
I was last season. We'll do it again this year, and that's one of the things.
Of his baseball team.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's quick ball.
Yeah, quick ball. But
like I'm not a coach, but like, you know, I didn't play baseball growing up.
I was gonna say,
it's just somebody out there giving the kids positive feedback, showing them how to swing. I'm learning myself. I get YouTube videos, you know, other coaches, you know. And what like the ultimatum
It's like
is
starting the job all over again.
Oh my goodness, yeah, and, you know, it's great. I love the kids, but like some of the parents are kind of like too, like, I paid my $75 for the season. They're yours for an hour. You know, got the one kid in the center field hitting with the baseball bat, hitting the fence, and the kid throwing rocks, and it's like, and they're like,
I went through
like,
it.
hey, he's your problem for an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
there is a couple parents that like it is like type A, type B parents. Me, I was talking to a good friend of mine, and his kids are a little older, and he's like, yeah, I'm that parent that just goes in a hoodie and stands in center field and like tucks the hoodie in so no one sees me, and just like yells at my kid when I need to yell at my kid, and then that's it. I don't socialize with any of the parents or nothing. And then you see these other parents that bring a goddamn wheelbarrow full of toys and a tent and for a quick ball practice that's 45 minutes, but it's literally 12 minutes of practice.
It's so fun. Brandy, she was in the crowd one time, and some of the parents were like, "He should be doing this. He should be doing that." Like they were upset, like I wasn't. And she told me, and I, like again, just like with customer service, people are people. Like I don't take it personal. They're so I wrote a really nice email, like if anybody wants to come out here and help me, you know, if you want to pitch to your kid this Saturday. Get some memories, take some photos, get it on video. Come on out.
Come on out.
Everybody is welcome.
It's good marketing.
Yeah.
Get off your rocker
I'd love
chair
to have
and get
you.
out here.
Yeah, like it's like very nicely, like let's get just a reminder. I have no coaching experience. Not even gonna lie to you. I'm pretend.
Wow.
You know.
Listen, we gotta wrap it up.
You got it.
So last thing. We're gonna ask this when we interview every guest. The question is, do you consider yourself a visionary or an implementer? I think we answered it. I think he's an implementer. I think Anthony's the visionary.
Yes.
He sees everything.
The risk taker.
Yep.
And then the implementer is me dissecting everything and figuring out how to have it run efficient. You know, if that's what you mean by it. That's what you meant by that.
That's kind of the definition.
Yeah.
Basically.
I'm an implementer. Yeah. That's my piece.
Yeah.
He's the technical. He's the risk taker. You know, and like we said, Maria's got her piece. Well, and that's real quick too. Like getting back to the employees, like the way the style is, we're all just playing a role. Like nobody's more important. The guys, if they weren't going out there taking care of the problems, like we couldn't be doing what we're doing. As corny as that is, but that's how I look at it. Like if you work for me and I see you out with your family, this is my buddy Chris. We work together. It's not like he works for me, or you know what I mean. Like sometimes that people let that go to their head, and but. Everybody's just playing their part. Let's just get it done, go home, make people happy, you know.
And then I always ask, you've known me long enough, what do you think I am? Do you think I'm a vision? This is like my journey through this podcast. Because like I've asked a bunch of people, including my wife, and they're all different. Everyone's different. So Derek said I was an implementer last episode. So what do you think?
I mean, based off what we're talking about, I would have said visionary, you know, as far as doing this podcast. You know, as much as I've seen podcasts and thought like, yeah, that'd be cool. Maybe I would try that out one day. It's doing it.
Yeah.
You know, now that you're doing it, if you would ever need help with it, I'll be like the implementer to help you figure out how to keep it moving and grow it, and
Yeah.
you know what we can do to help market it and help each other. You know,
Well, I'm
but
gonna
that-
need you to help, bro.
Yeah, we're getting
Well,
stable.
listen,
Yeah,
we're
nice
gonna-
little stable we're building right here.
Avanti's gonna need to blast that. See, this is
so
I have a
yeah.
I have a plan.
It's
bro.
so funny,
We're gonna
though.
get all these.
This dude I was looking at, like while we're talking,
Yeah.
we do the sewer digs.
Yep.
You have to rip up the earth and you put it back as nice as you can.
Yeah.
But when you're done,
Yeah.
it needs growth.
Yeah, why don't I
we
see it
throw
all the
grass
time.
seed down.
Yeah, I see
We
it all the
throw
time.
down.
Why do you buy? Where do you buy? I should have emailed. I'm gonna email Avanti. I'm gonna email the.
Let me
info.
know, like, how-
Hold on. What's Avanti's info? Info at Avanti. How do I get in touch
Oh
with
yeah,
them?
you can email me, Brian at Avanti.
No, I don't want to email you.
Scheduling?
I want to email just the company.
Yeah, you go to paplumbingandrains.com.
All right, I'm there.
Yeah, send it over. The email submission. Yeah, but seriously, on this, we'll talk all that too, like how we can implement that. Where
I think so. I
it'll
think it's
look
a great
good.
idea.
Like have you guys.
I think it's a great idea. I think it'd be quick and easy. I think it's way better than you guys doing it. Way better results.
Yeah, because you throw the grass seed down and in 6 months, like it looks horrible. It's like, well, did you water it? Like, you know. So,
Well, listen, once again, Brian.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Coming on.
Brad, great to see you too,
good to see
man.
you, Brian.
I love what you're doing. I love the podcast and all. It's cool. This is yeah. Whatever I could do to help, till you know.
Appreciate Brad
Thank you.
contributing a little bit this podcast.
Whatever I can do.
Yeah.
I love the flow of this one. I think it went a lot better. I think we're gonna get better. We're gonna get better stories. We're gonna have some great guests. We got a couple guests lined up. We're gonna keep this rolling. And thanks everybody listening. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Root Zone podcast. Like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star rating so we can continue to grow. Thanks again to Brian Finnegan. Visit paplumbingandrains.com for more information on Avanti, the plumbing and drain experts. And of course, you can always visit Chris and his team at stoutlawncare.com. That's STOUT lawncare.com.